Welcome back to the Multi-Passionate Mama podcast. Every week I want to bring you a little mini episode where I share something that's been on my mind, something that's really present for me. I love having guests, but sometimes I find that I have these quirky, fascinating ideas that I want to share. Let's dive in. Well, since I have not officially told this tale yet on my podcast, I figure it's about time that I told you about my concussion, how it happened, the funny story around it, and the lessons that I've learned from having a concussion, because I had never had a concussion before in my life. So, the story of what happened. We were changing our plans, which for a family with kiddos with autism is difficult. Just go with that. So my son Joshua is 12. He'll actually be 13 at the end of the month. But he is severely autistic and kind of semi-verbal and type 1 diabetic. And he did not like it when we decided to change our plans for the day. And so we were on our way to the store. He really wanted to go to the store. And on the way, we ended up deciding to go pick up Dad for a lunch break. So we stopped and Dad was walking and we picked him up. And then Dad said, "Hey, before we go to the store, can we run back to my office so I can lock it up?" Because he had just been on a walk. And Joshua did not like that because he was very excited to go to the store. So we drove back to the office real quick, which was like not very far away. And we pulled up and we parked and my husband went inside to lock up. And Joshua got out of the car. And again, we were parked. And he decided to punch the headrest of the driver's seat. And my head was against the headrest. So he punches the headrest while my head's against it. And it turns out that the headrest of our minivan, which, by the way, if you have a minivan, it is a solid chance that yours do this too. So look it up because it's probably a thing. Because it turns out that most minivans are made by GMC. They're mostly made by the same manufacturer. Ours is a Dodge Grand Caravan. But so he punched it, and when he punched it, it turns out it's spring loaded. So it burst open really powerfully and violently against my head when he hit it really hard. So not just the force of him hitting it, but also the force of the spring-loaded headrest bursting open. And it hurt, and I was shocked, and I was like, holy crap, what just happened? And at first, I was just kind of in shock, and I was like, that really hurt. I'm not really sure what's going on and what just happened, but I was like, I'm sure I'm fine, whatever. So we went to the store, and Josh went to go grab the thing he wanted, and I was trying to go browse, and I couldn't. I had to sit down, and I was like, that's not good. My head hurt a ton. The whole back of my head hurt really, really badly, but I was having a hard time standing up, and I was like, that's not good. This is hurting longer than I thought it would. My brain hurts. This feels weird. Anyway, so we went through the rest of our night, and I was not feeling better. I was really expecting it to feel better. We have these really amazing migraine frozen head wrap things, which I think I posted a picture of it, but it's like a 360 migraine ice pack that goes all the way around your head, and they have been an absolute lifesaver. I use them for the first week. I had that thing on my head as often as it was frozen. And then it broke, and then I bought a new one because my husband was playing with it and he broke it, so I had to buy a new one. But thankfully Amazon got us the new one there in less than a day. So I would freeze it for an hour and then put it back on my head and then freeze it, and it was just on and off, and that really helped a lot. But so the next morning I still hurt a ton, and I was really dizzy and I couldn't think straight, and I was like, I think that maybe I should go to the doctor. So the thing happened, I believe it was Thursday, June 20th. as of the recording of this, I'm like 2 weeks out. And so I think it was Thursday, June 20th. And then, so it wasn't until Friday, the 21st, that I was like, I didn't sleep it off. Hey, I don't feel better the next morning. What's going on here? And so I scheduled a doctor appointment for first thing in the morning. Got my husband to work. Then I took the kids, and I was driving, and I probably shouldn't have been, but I was like, I'm fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine, right? I was really still like in denial, and I was like, maybe I have a concussion. Like my husband had brought it up, like, you might have a concussion. And I was like, yeah, maybe, but if I do, it's just mild. It's not a huge deal, right? And like, as it didn't feel better throughout the night, I was like, maybe I have a concussion. Maybe you should take this more seriously. And I was like Googling symptoms of a concussion, and I was like, well, I don't think I passed out. And I was really thinking like, this is not a huge deal. I'll just sleep it off. And so I drove my husband to work, and I drove my older 2 kiddos to the library to go hang out. And I went to the doctor with Joshua, and the doctor, who I had never met before, was like, after hearing everything and hearing how you're actually feeling right now, because I'm honest, right? Like, I just told him everything that was going on. I was like, just make this be over. I'm ready for my brain to work again. He was like, you have a severe concussion, and you might even have a brain bleed. Like, this is really bad. So, you have 2 options. You can either go right to the ER right now, or we can schedule you a CT scan and hope that they can get you in today. And if they can't get you in today, then you have to go to the ER and get a CT scan. And I was like, what is happening? And he's going, which one do you want to do? And I was like, a decision? I literally do not have the capacity to make a decision right now. Like you're asking me to make this decision. I have terrible insurance. Like, it's going to cost me an arm and a leg to go to the ER, and at least one arm to get a CT scan. So, like, I don't know what I'm going to do here. I cannot make this decision. So, I called my husband, which meant taking my phone away from Josh, who then proceeded to scream, damn. Yeah, whatever. Josh was Josh, and I don't like taking Josh to the doctor with me. So my husband talked to the doctor, and I ended up going in for a CT scan that afternoon. So my husband was able to get off work for a little bit and drive me to my CT scan with Joshua. Well, and what was interesting was right before that, actually my kids are not at the library yet. They were doing chores, my other 2. They were still home doing chores, trying to earn their way to go to the library and play video games. So, I'm still recovering from this concussion. So the recall part is like, wait, what happened? I was taking a nap, and our neighbor had come over to watch Josh, so my husband could take the 2 kiddos to the library because they had finally gotten their chores done. Because I had just taken him to work. I had not actually taken them. Most mornings, they have done their chores and taken them to the library. So I'm like, wait, what happened? Anyways, so she came over, and I was trying to take a nap. But then when my husband left to go take them, Josh was screaming his face off. So I had to get it from my nap to help him calm down, because he's going, Dad at work, Mom, get up. Like, things are not... He's not very verbal, so he wasn't saying this out loud, but he's kind of anxious, and he was like, things are not normal. Things need to go back to normal, and he was having a really hard time with it. So that was part of our story. So then she left, and my husband and Joshua drove me over to get this CT scan, and I got all checked in, and boy, filling the paperwork out at the outpatient building to get my CT scan with a concussion was so difficult. Like, they're like, what's your birth date? And like, what's your last name? And I'm like, what's the date? And I was like, these questions, these are questions. You're going to have to give me like a minute to figure out the answers to these questions. I was able to do it. But it was like filling out paperwork when you have a concussion is not easy. So I was just finishing up my paperwork when my husband comes up to me like a little panicked, and he's like, "Carolee, Josh is stuck in the elevator." And I'm like, "What?" So you have to understand, Josh is obsessed with elevators. He has been obsessed with elevators his entire life. He runs and he pushes all the buttons in the elevator, and I race after him to catch him so he doesn't go up to a different floor without me and then get lost somewhere in the hospital building or whatever building we're in with an elevator, right? Like, I'm always on my toes around that kid when there's an elevator present because he's so obsessed. Well, so my husband didn't catch him in time, and he pushed all the buttons in the elevator, and my husband tried to go get him out of the elevator. Anyways, he got stuck in the elevator because my husband stopped him. He opened the doors, and so there's Josh, and I'm coming out from trying to fill out this paperwork, and they're like, "We're going to call you back in just a minute." And there's Josh with the elevator doors open like 3 inches so I can see his face. And he's got a soda in one hand and fruit snacks in the other hand. And he's like, like, "Get me out of here." He's like, "Out." Because he doesn't have like superb language skills, but he's got some. So he's like whining about getting out of the elevator, and the doors are locked in this like 3-inch opening, and my husband's going, "They had to call the engineers to try to get Josh out of the elevator," and I'm just cracking up. And the first thing I did was take a picture, and my husband's going, "What are you doing? Why are you taking a picture?" And I'm just like, because that's the first thing you do, right, is take a photo. And I'm very glad I did, because they called me back for my CT scan, which took like 2 minutes. And by the time I came out, all the people were there. They got Josh out of the elevator. I keep saying he was only in there for 10 minutes. He was probably in there for 5. He was hardly in there for any time. He had all this food and candy with him, which again, he's diabetic, so that was not great, but whatever. He was totally fine. He just had to be patient for a few minutes. The guy who needed to fix the elevator was just right around the street. So I thought that was totally hilarious and very much my life in a nutshell, of like, here's me going to go get a CT scan for my concussion and my kid gets stuck in the elevator. There's my life for you. So I did not have a brain bleed, just a severe concussion. And the following days were difficult because my husband had to work and I was home with 3 kiddos, and I was a lot of time laying on the couch with my head in an ice pack, trying to get as much quiet as I could. We also had to drive Joshua up to Salt Lake for a doctor appointment about a week later, and my husband was able to get some time off work so that he could drive me up there, and I didn't have to drive for that, because although I did drive and I got some medicine that was helpful, I wasn't driving like all the way. Salt Lake is an hour away through like heavy traffic, and so I was glad that he was there for me, plus more paperwork and more questions from the doctor and all that craziness. So that was my exciting concussion story, and it is been, I've been so amazed at kindness from our church friends and from everyone who has known about this. It's been wild, but what's been the lesson has been how important it is for me to slow down, especially after I started feeling better, because I started feeling better about a week later. And I noticed, especially thanks to like friend, I had some really beautiful conversations with friends that really helped me so much. And I started feeling like a lot better. And I was able to take less medicine and have less downtime and actually think straight and do things. And it's been harder and harder to take the time that I really should be taking to rest every day and to lay down and close my eyes and just even 10 or 20 minutes away from my busy, crazy life to just rest. And like, it's amazing to me, like, this is something I probably should have been doing all along. And it has taken a concussion for me to realize that I don't give myself nearly enough space throughout my day. And I'm the one who has to do that. I'm the one who's in charge of me. Nobody else is going to hold my hand and make me take a nap. No one else is going to hold my hand and make me put an ice pack on my head and lay on the couch. And even if I have a Josh talking to me the whole time, like, I have to be the one who takes a time out for me. I have to give myself a mom time out for my own sanity, because I'm noticing that every night I'm like, oh, I didn't give myself enough time today. I'm feeling so like burned out by the end of the day. I'm so exhausted, like my brain hurts. Oh, there I go again. I'm trying to jump back into my old self, like A, way too soon after a concussion, but B, I should never have been like that to begin with, because it was not healthy. So here's just my takeaway and my lesson for you guys is that, like, you deserve a break. You deserve a time out. You deserve that space in your day, even without any illness or any concussion or any brain damage or anything you have going on. You just get to have that space in your day. Like, you just get to have it. Like, end of story. But in the getting to have it, you have to give it to yourself. Like, it's an action item. You have to give it to yourself. No one else is going to be like, nope, stop time, break time, go. If you aren't really conscientious, it'll just disappear and it won't happen. And you'll be like, no dishes, no sweep the floor, no get that email written, no do this, no do that, no podcast. Like, there's always going to be things that fill up your time. You've got to take the space that you need. So I actually need to go do that right now. So I'm going to go do that. So that's my message. Take the space. Take the space you need. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Multi-Passionate Mama podcast. I know that we can never be told too many times how amazing we are. So in case you haven't been told today, you are a freaking rock star. When you let yourself shine, you allow other people to take off their filters and shine brightly too. It's about time someone gave you permission to be all of you. If you enjoyed this show, please leave me a review and hit that subscribe button. I know you want more of this. Sharing is caring. Let someone you love know how incredible they are by texting them the link to this episode. They'll feel so good just knowing that you thought about them. And lastly, if you want to know more about my courses and coaching, be sure to check out my website for up-to-date details on everything I have available. It's caroleegarrison.com and the link is in the show notes. Always remember that you are a diamond. Don't let anyone dim your sparkle.